effective interest rate cost. Effective effective rate of interest cost. Effective rate of interest cost. Effective rate of interest cost. Particulars calculation amount. Particulars calculation actual interest paid. Actual interest paid. See, I am calculating first forward rate agreement. Forward rate agreement is used to freeze the future interest rate for borrowing or investment. Example, company A wants to borrow after 6 months. Borrowing period is equal start from month 7th till month 9th. We can enter into a forward rate agreement to freeze the interest rate for this borrowing. This rate is technically called forward rate agreement. It's called FRA 6 into 9. End of the month 6 till the end of the month 9. Discounted net settlement. Forward rate agreement are net settled for the difference in contracted rate and actual rate. Forward rate agreement would be settled in month 6 and for the above example, where actual loan outflow will happen in month 9. Hence, we are required to discount the forward rate agreement settlement amount. Forward rate agreement undiscounted settlement is equal contractor rate minus actual rate into notional amount into month by 12. FRA discounted settlement. FRA forward rate agreement discounted settlement is equal undiscounted settlement divided by 1 plus AR into month divided by 12. Actual rate into month divided by 12. Forward rate agreement discounted settlement is equal undiscounted settlement divided by 1 plus actual rate into month divided by 12. Steps. Step 1 formal. Step 1 format for net settlement. Format for net settlement is equal to particulars calculation amount, actual rate, contractual rate, difference, nature of settlement, pay or receive, amount settlement, notional amount into difference into M into M divided by 12. Whereas discounted settlement is equal to undiscounted settlement divided by 1 plus actual rate into month divided by 12. Step 2 effective rate of interest cost. Effective rate of interest cost, particular calculation amount, actual interest paid, actual interest paid, actual interest, actual interest, actual interest paid, amount into actual rate into M by 12, amount actual rate, amount into actual rate into m divided by 12. Discounted net settlement, which is calculated as per step 1. Discounted net settlement. Settlement. Discounted net settlement. Discounted net settlement is equal to step 1. Step 1. Discounted net settlement is equal to step 1. Effective interest outflow. Effective interest outflow. Effective interest. Effective interest outflow. Effective interest outflow. Interest cost percentage. Interest cost percentage. Interest cost. Interest cost percentage is equal to effective interest outflow divided by loan amount into 12 by m into 100. Effective interest outflow. Effective interest outflow. Effective interest outflow. Effective interest outflow divided by loan amount into 12 by n into 100. See, interest cost percentage is equal to effective interest outflow divided by loan amount into 12 divided by m into 100. Next example. Example, ABC Limited plan to borrow 50 crores a period of 3 months. After 6 months, the bank has quoted forward rate agreement is as follows. 3 months, 3 to 6 months forward rate agreement 8.20, 3 to 9 months forward rate agreement 8.50, 6 to 9 months forward rate agreement 8.6, 6 to 12 months forward rate agreement is 8.6%. The actual interest rate on borrowing data date turns out to be 10%. How much would be the FRA settlement, forward rate agreement settlement? This is the question. Answer. The company planned to borrow for 3 months after a period of 6 months. Hence, the borrowing period is 6 months, month 6 to month 9. Hence, ABC Limited would have entered into FRA 6 into 9 percentage, 8% for hedging, 6 into 9. That's called 8% of the hedging. So, the company planned to borrow for 3 months after a period of 6 months. Hence, the borrowing period is month 6 to 9, and hence ABC Limited would have entered into 6 to 9, 6 months 9 percentage, 6 into 9 FRA, then 8% for hedging. Percent hedging. Target. Target for window సమూహ చేయాలి. ఇది చేయాలి. ఇది చేయాలి. FR ఇది మొత్తం అయిపోయాలి. FR ఇది మొత్తం అయిపోయాలి. AF ఇది మొత్తం అయిపోయాలి. సో స్మాష్ ఇది వచ్చేసి FR మారుతుంది. AF ఇది అయిపోవాలి. FR నెక్స్ట్ ఏం చేయాలి, ప్లాన్ ఏం చేయాలి నెక్స్ట్ FR ఇండియస్ 103 మొత్తం చదవాలి. అది అయిపోయిన తర్వాత FR లో సమ్స్ చేయాలి. సో ఇది టార్గెట్. సో ఇక్కడ ఇంకా కాన్సెప్ట్స్ ఇంకా ఓన్లీ 5 కాన్సెప్ట్స్ ఉన్నాయి. సో క్లోజ్ నో ఇష్యూ. ఎక్కడ మనం సో ఫార్వర్డ్ రేట్ అగ్రిమెంట్ వచ్చేసరికి సో ఫార్వర్డ్ రేట్ అగ్రిమెంట్ లో సో మనం ఫార్వర్డ్ రేట్ అగ్రిమెంట్ లో ఉన్నాం. The company planned to borrow for 3 months after a period of 6 months. Hence, the borrowing period is month 6 to month 9, and hence ABC Limited would have entered into 6 to 9 forward rate agreement, 8% for hedging interest, 6 to 9, 8 percentage. For hedging interest, for hedging, interest rates have increased to 10 percentage, and hence ABC Limited will receive the forward rate settlement, forward rate agreement settlement. ఇప్పుడు అసలు our teaching objective ఎన్న విషయంలో first whatever we learn, understand and teach others, that will be 100% will be in brain. That the reason whatever I'm doing, whatever I know, that knowledge will come and spread in YouTube. That's what my target, my friends. Whatever I know, I should come and teach in front of the people. That's what main goal of this channel. Okay, the goal of this channel is whatever I learned, I'll come and teach. Then whatever I learned, it will be standardized, so it will be useful for in my examination. So that's why whatever I learned, I'll come and vomit here. I'll come and teach here, so that my understanding level will be 100%. So I choose this platform for that reason. So, so the company planned to borrow for 3 months after a period of 6 months. Hence, the borrowing period is month 6 to month 9, and hence ABC Limited would have entered into 6 to 9 FRA for hedging interest. Rates have increased to 10%, and hence ABC Limited will receive forward rate agreement settlement. Forward rate agreement settlement receipt is called forward rate settlement agreement. Forward rate agreement settlement is called the FRA settlement receipt. Forward FRA settlement, FRA settlement receipt, FRA settlement receipt is called 50 crores, 50 crores into 2% into 3 by 12. 50 crores into 2% into 3 by 12. Why 2 percentage? ABC Limited plans to borrow 50 crores for a period of 3 months. After 6 months, the bank quoted FRA. Okay, why 2% came? For example, 8% for the 6 months. 8%. The company plan to the company plans to borrow for 3 months after a period of 6 months. Hence, borrowing period is month 6 to month 9, and hence ABC Limited would have entered into 6 into 9 forward rate agreement, 8% for hedging interest rates have increased to 10 percentage. 8% increase, 8% rate to 10 percentage increase. So the 2 percentage we take it here. So then 50 crores into 2% into 3 by 12. Why 3 by 12? The company planned to borrow 3 months after a period of 6 months. So then how many months increase? 3 months increase. That's why 50 crores into 2% into 3 by 12 divided by 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus actual rate. 1 plus actual rate into month divided by 12. Actual rate is 10 percentage. Month means FRA settlement receipt. 1 plus actual rate into month divided by 12. 1 plus actual rate is 10 percentage. Oh, 3 by 12 and 4 వచ్చేసింది. Right. Actual rate 10 percentage into 3 by 12. So like this. Then 50 crores 2% into 3 by 12 divided by 1 plus 10% divided by 4. So this is equal to zero point 25 crores. 0.25 crores divided by 1 divided by 4 plus 1. 1.025. So 0.25 divided by 1.025. 24 lakh, 2 lakh, 24 lakh 39,024. 24 lakh 39,000. So FRA settlement receipt. Next concept number 11. Computation of FRA rate. Concept number 11. Concept number 11. Computation of FRA rate. Typically, market interest rates are quoted for immediate borrowing arrangements. known as spot borrowing. For example, 3 months interest rate might be quoted at 4.5% per annum, while 6 months interest rate would be quoted at 5% per annum. However, if our intention is to borrow a loan 3 months from now, for subsequent 3 month period, we need to ascertain the interest rate applicable from the end of the month 3 to the end of the month 6. This financial arrangement is formally referred to as forward rate agreement. Forward rate agreement 3 to 6 months. Future value factor for 6 months divided by future value factor for 3 months minus 1. సో 3 to 6 ఎఫ్ఆర్ఏ రేట్ అగ్రిమెంట్ అంటే ఎలా రాయాలి మనం? ఫ్యూచర్ వాల్యూ 6 months divided by future value factor for 3 months minus 1. 3 to 6 months FRA is equal to future value factor 6 months divided by future value factor 3 months minus 1. Future value factor for 6 months. Future value factor. Future value factor for 6 months divided by future value factor for 3 months. Future value factor for 3 months minus 1. Future value factor for 6 months divided by future value factor for 3 months minus 1. Now, 3 into 6 FRA which equals 3 to 6 months FRA is equal 1 plus 2.5 percentage divided by 1 plus 1.25. అంటే 4.5% per annum అంటే 2.25 for the 6 months. అలాగే 5% per annum అంటే 3 months ఎంతకు వచ్చింది? 1.25%. So 1 plus 2.5% divided by 1 plus 1.125% minus 1. 3 to 6 months FRA forward rate 3 to 6 months forward rate agreement 3 to 6 months. Forward rate agreement is equal 1 plus 2.5 percentage divided by 1 plus 1.125 percentage minus 1. Minus 1. So then 2.5 divided by 2.125 minus 1 into 100. So plus 0 plus 1.011 0.0 1.0 divided by 1.01128 minus 1.029 divided by 1.01129 minus 1 into 1.75. 1.36%. Percentage. 1.25 divided by 5 plus 1.1 plus 2.5 percentage. 2.5 divided by 100 plus 1. 1.0 1.025 divided by 1.125 divided by 100 plus 1. 1.01125. 1.025 divided by 1.01125 minus 1 into 100. So 1.36. 1.36 percentage for 3 months. No, 3 months. So 1.36 into 12 by 3 which equal 5.44 percentage. 5.44 percentage. 5.44 percentage. FRA and arbitrage. Next, concept number 12. Concept number concept number 12. See, FRA, forward rate agreement arbitrage. The banks typically provide bid and ask rates for forward rate agreement, a practice similar to the forex market. For instance, a forward rate agreement rate range 6.5% to 6.75 implies that customer have the option to borrow from the bank at the rate of 6.75 or deposit the funds bank at the rate of 6.5 percentage. Arbitrage is possible only in the following situations: deposit rate greater than the fair forward rate agreement, borrowing rate less than fair forward rate agreement. One, the moment I'm going to deposit, then my deposit rate should be greater than the fair forward rate. If I'm going to borrow funds, then borrowing rate less than the fair forward rate agreement. So arbitrage steps. Let us assume realizing 6 to 2 actual borrowing rate is lower. If actual borrowing rate is lower, then fair forward rate, then we should borrow for first 6 months at spot borrowing and next 6 months at actual forward. Actual investment rate is higher if actual investment rate is higher than the forward rate agreement. Then we should invest for first 6 months at spot investment, next 6 months at actual forward rate agreement, and borrow for 12 months at spot borrowing rate.